In this video, we're going to take a look at the performance logger. If you're optimizing your application, a good place to start is by measuring its performance. And for this, you can use the performance logger plugin. With it, you can capture metrics that look at the performance of your UI, things like redraw times, loading times, and so on. And if there's something in the UI that's not responding the way you thought it would, or looks a little slow, this is the tool that can give you insight as to where to make these kinds of changes. And so to use it, you'd start out by going into the simulator configurations up here. And then under logger, we can enable performance metrics, and we'll start measuring from startup. And let's just give this a name, test.plog. And then when we run this, now what we can do is just run through the application, start using it. I'll bring in the I/O connector as well, so we can just kind of, start using our app the way that it would get used. Take a look, go through all our screens, and so on. So when you're done, you just close the file. And if you go into your project folder through the navigator, it's this file here, test.plog, which we just created. At first glance, we can see the overview of your CPU usage. There's a screen summary, animation summary, events, and so on. And it gives you a nice breakdown of everything, which is nice, especially if you have a really large built-up application with a lot of screens, animations, events, and so on. You can easily identify these areas of performance. With the loading summary, if your platform has a limit on how many images you can have in memory, loading your images, that can impact your redraw time. So there's a bunch of images that have an average load time that's pretty small, but if there's an image that has a higher load time, it's an indicator that I can't load this image a lot of times because that higher load time count is a lot of time that can impact your redraws. So you'd want to consider how this image gets used. In the next tab, if we take a look here in the queue loads, this is a summary of the event queue count. There's a bunch of 1s and 2s, which is showing that an event's been generated and that event has processed pretty quickly, so we're keeping up with the event queue. If the application's running on a device with a slower processor, you might see these numbers grow. And if you're generating events more than you're able to process and keep up with, that's something you need to take a look at. And it's the same thing with timers. Is there a timer leak? Are there timers being created that have been forgotten about and then created again? And the time of the queue change here lets you look at that timer when that timer was created, so you can drive back and look at what's going on there. And for the control count, there could be a Lua function that clones controls, and that could be creating controls over and over again, which can impact your performance. And then this last tab is log. And this is the raw data that's been captured when you ran the application. So based on the screens we're on and the transitions we've done to get to the next screen. And if there is really poor performance on a particular screen, you now have the insight into the sequence of things that are going on that can help you improve performance in certain areas of your application. So that is working with the performance logger. It's a really great tool for going in and kind of optimizing the performance of an application.